In today's video, let's talk about tax refunds with the IRS. I get asked this question so often, so I want to answer this. I get asked the question, is it better to get a tax refund when you do your tax return, or is it better to owe a little bit of money to the IRS? So here's what I recommend to my clients. I tell them that they should aim to get a tax refund. And I actually say the same thing to my friends and family, and I do the same thing as well personally. So I believe that it's better to get a tax refund than owing money to the IRS. Here's why. So let's just think about the pros and cons. Let's think about this practically, about what are the pros and cons of getting a tax refund. So the bad thing is, if you get a tax refund, it means that in most cases, that you simply just overpaid your taxes during the year. And you're getting that money, well, it's your money, you're getting that money refunded back to you. So the bad thing is that you could have had that money during the year, throughout the course of the year. You could have taken that money, you could have put it into a bank, you could have earned interest on it, you could have invested that money. So the bad thing is that you missed out. We're talking about opportunity cost, that you could have been earning an extra few dollars or extra few bucks on that money if you had that money during the year. Okay, so that is a bad thing about getting a tax refund. Now let's talk about the good things. What are the good things about getting a tax refund? I'll give you two primary ones. At least this is how I see it. Okay, so two things. The first thing is that if you're getting a tax refund, that in most cases, you will not get charged an underpayment penalty by the IRS. So if you do your tax return and you owe money to the IRS, then you are in jeopardy of an underpayment penalty. By getting a tax refund, you are negating that. You are avoiding that danger. So listen, I'm telling you that in a lot of cases, people owe money to the IRS. So they'll do their tax return, they'll owe money to the IRS, and they're getting penalized, and they don't even realize it. That's because the IRS is sneaky about it. It's a line item, it's an underpayment penalty line item, and it's built into the final results. So if your final results say that your total balance due is $3,000, then maybe not all $3,000 of that is taxes. Maybe some of that is actually penalty, and it's rolled up and it's built into the final results. That's how it works. Now, moving on to the second thing, the second good thing about getting a tax refund, I'm just gonna keep it real. It's a nice surprise to get some money back. Like, okay, I completely understand that money was yours to begin with, so I get it. But again, I'm just gonna keep it real. It's a nice surprise. It's like finding money in your jeans after you do your laundry, right? It's like, oh, what a nice surprise. It's better than finding an invoice in your jeans after doing your laundry. That's just my opinion. So I'll tell you, there are pros and cons of getting a tax refund, right? Personally, I am self-employed. I need to make estimated tax payments. I try to get as close to zero as possible, but I like to be conservative and aim for, it's like a range of zero, like perfect, like exactly what I owed. It's hardly ever gonna be perfect. Zero to a small refund. That's what I shoot for personally. And for most people, I recommend the same thing, aim for an average size tax refund. So here's why. So the average tax refund right now is $1,700. We'll just use $2,000 to keep it simple. So let's just say instead of getting a $2,000 tax refund, you have that $2,000 during the course of the year, right? And let's just say that you take that $2,000, you stick it into a bank, a savings account, you're earning 4% interest, right? Okay, so you do this because you want to be tax optimal, like, oh, you're so tax savvy. So it's true. Technically speaking, this is much better than having that $2,000 with the IRS and you earning no interest. But at the end of the day, how much better off are you really going to be by being so tax savvy? If you earn 4% interest on $2,000, that's $80 for the year. And that's before taxes. After taxes, you're gonna be up about $60. That's for the year. But I'm just trying to be practical here. Yeah, okay, you're gonna have an extra $60 for the year, but remember that when you complete your tax return, you're not gonna get a tax refund and you might owe some money as well. But the problem is, I'm just being realistic, is that A lot of people rely on the tax refund money in February or March or April. It's like forced savings for millions of Americans. So I am a supporter of being tax efficient. However, I'm also a fan of people saving money and having money. So listen, if you're going to ask the question, what is the most tax optimal outcome? Then yes, there is one correct answer. But if you ask the question, what is best for someone getting a tax refund or owing money to the IRS, that is a different question. For that one, there's not going to be one right answer because there's going to be other factors that come into play. So for most people, I would honestly recommend that you aim for a tax refund. Avoid the underpayment penalty. Look forward to getting a nice lump sum of money at the end of the year when you're filling out your taxes during tax season. If someone's going to tell you otherwise, that they're going to criticize you or try to lecture you about how it's bad to get a tax refund, you can tell them that you simply like getting that tax refund money. You like to play it safe. You don't want to owe money to the IRS. And Brian said that it's okay to get a tax refund. And another thing, that if you want to go one step further, you can tell them to go check their tax return to make sure that they're not getting charged an underpayment penalty. If you say that to them, that's going to shake their confidence and that's going to make them think twice. That's going to blindside them. But listen, I'll tell you this. If your tax refund is excessive, I'm talking about massive, like way above the average, then you have to get that fixed. You really do. You want to aim for a tax refund, but you just don't want it to be out of control. But of course, this is all going to be in relation to your income, but you should know. In most cases, you have to adjust how much taxes are taken out of your paycheck at work. You do this on your W-4. If you don't know how to do this, I would ask a coworker or just ask your payroll department on how to do this. If you don't trust them, then I have videos on walking you through a W-4, how to adjust your payroll settings properly. So listen, I just want to tell you this. A big reason why I'm making this video is because my brother asked me about this the other day. He was like, should I aim for a tax refund? Is it better to owe money to the IRS? He knew about this. I'll tell you why. Okay, but I was just straight up with him. I was sincere. I was like, bro, don't try to get fancy with your taxes. Just aim for a tax refund. That's where you want to be. Like, just keep it simple. But he knew about this because he's like, well, I don't want to give an interest-free loan to the IRS. Like, they're not going to do me any favors. Why should I do them any favors? And I told him, like, I'm not a fan of the IRS either, but it's just not worth it. At the end of the day, that's just my opinion. It's just not worth the trouble. So again, this is what I tell my clients. This is the same thing I tell my friends, my family. This is what I do personally. So I thought that I would share this with you, give you my perspective. Thank you so much for the support. Please subscribe and wish you a very nice day. Take care.